Hey YouTube, Irish Airgunner coming at you. I did a review of my S410 TDR in 177 caliber. Oh, it's been about a year and a half now, and I've gotten a couple messages about it on the performance. So today we're going to run through some basic performance on it. I plan on, once the weather breaks and get back on the range, we'll do a lot more with it, but today I just want to go over some of the highlights and let's do some pellet testing. On my S410 TDR, I have a Hawk 4x12x50 AO illuminated reticle. I go with the standard mil dot. I like the standard mil dots on all my scopes. I put a 4x12 on there because, as you'll see in the testing, the gun is a pretty short to medium range gun. I only take it out to about 40 yards, 50 yards max. One nice thing about a TDR is they come pretty stock with lower power. They come with the feet per second around 580, and the 177 is not imported into the United States from Air Arms, just the 22. So if you get a 22, you're going to shoot around 580. So that's going to bring it around the 12, 13 foot-pound range. So with a gun like that, it's nice to have, because if you're shooting indoors, you're shooting into spaces such as garages, you're shooting in storage barns, you're shooting in barns, silos. This is a gun that's going to get your quarry, but it's not going to be powerful enough to go through roofs or go through wood or go through anything like that. If you want to learn more about the TDR, I did a full review. Go through my videos and research the S410 TDR. This 177 is a custom. The stock is a custom. It was made by Peter Plesinger from Top Gun Airgun. So I have a link to Peter. Peter does very good custom work, and he specializes in caliber and Air Arms. He does amazing work, phenomenal with Air Arms, and you'll see when we get to the pellet testing. For today's accuracy and for today's Chronograph, we're going to use 4 pellets. I'm partial to JSB. I like JSB. I haven't found a JSB that I didn't like. There are a few with their Stratons that are just cheaper pellets, but when you get into the exact lines are awesome pellets. Everybody said this is an Air Arms air rifle. Why don't I shoot Air Arms pellets? Air Arms pellets are not made by Air Arms, they're made by JSB. So you're getting the same 10.34, the same .844 pellet, but instead of having JSB label, it has a Air Arms label. So, plus JSBs are easy to get, and they're just incredible. You'll see by the footage. So let's start out with the 4 pellets we're going to be shooting. This is the exact heavy Diablo JSBs. It's a 10.34 grain pellet in 177, of course. This is the preferred pellet that I use for pesting, because with the larger bullet you get more knockdown punch. So even though you're getting a slower feet per second, you're getting more mass. And this is why I prefer this pellet for pest control. The next pellet we're using is the JSB Exact Diablo 8.44. This is the Match Exact pellet. This pellet was designed for match shooting competitions, and it's a combination of the lower weight pellets and the heavy. So it's sort of in between, which gives you a lot more stability, and you can use it for hunting in the same. The next pellet we're going to be shooting is the JSB Exact Diablo Express at 7.87. Now this is pretty much your standard 177 caliber pellet weight, around 7 grains, 7.4. That's usually what you're shooting when you get like a Crossman pellet, anything over the counter. The next pellet is the JSB Exact RS, and this is the lightest JSB that they make. It's 7.33 grains. It's also the fastest, so we'll compare that to the 10.34 and see what lightweight pellets and what heavy pellets will do to this pellet gun. So let's go out and do some shooting with them. I haven't shot this gun in a long time. I haven't shot it since like October last year. So what I did was I wanted to make sure that the scope was zeroed. So I did a control. Center to center at 30 yards. You're pushing 0.38 3/8 inch of a group. That's to the outside, but that's to the inside, 0.379. The next group was shot with the 10.34 heavies, and you can see that it's a little to the left but centered. Let's go through and measure from center to center, and we're going to call that 3.18. So we'll call that group size 3.318 of an inch. This group was shot with a JSB Match Exacts 8.44, and you can see from the center to the center here, you're talking 0.23. And let me pause and zoom that in. And that group was so close, I had to put the green test target underneath there so I could see where the actual center of the first pellet and the second pellet was. That group's going to be 0.2 inches center to center. So with the JSB matches, you're at 0.2 inches. And so you can see on the calipers for yourself. .22, 218. This fourth group was shot with the JSB Exact RS, and with the flyer in there, you're talking a .45, but that flyer was my fault. If you go without the flyer, you're still talking .2. Either way you look at it, it's coming up .206. This was a premature. I shot before I had the gun actually where I wanted it, so excluding that one, that's the group that you're pretty much going to get out of the gun with the RSs, the faster pellets. So you're still around the .2 range with it. You're probably wondering why I didn't scope cam the pellet testing. Scope cams are really fun, they're good to look at, they're great for bigger targets like pop cans, soda cans, knockdown targets, but for accuracy, for true accuracy, which we're trying to do here, scope cams sometimes lose your accuracy. You can see that this group right here, center to center, is around 3.6, 3.8. It's around 3.8 on the 383. Our initial test was 3.1 without the scope cam. So that's why I don't use the scope cam when I want true accuracy. Same thing, the JSB matches. The JSB Match Exact that came in is our best pellet at .21. If you go by on the scope cam from this figure, you're looking at roughly 3.57 in that range on the target. So we went from true accuracy of .21 to .357. So scope camming looks good, it looks real spectacular on hunting videos, but for true accuracy you lose a lot of accuracy through that camera. So now let's go ahead and run the pellets. Okay, this first pellet we're shooting is a JSB 10.34 heavy. 729. The next pellet we're going to be shooting is the JSB Exact Match 8.44. 797. The next pellet is the JSB Diablo Express, and it's 7.87. 823. And the last pellet we're going to shoot is the Exact RS 7.33. 842.9. And that's the pellet review for the Air Arms S410 TDR. Like I said, this is a custom 177 made by Peter Plesinger from Top Gun Airgun out of Arizona. You can Google him, or I'll put a link to his site. He does a lot of custom work with Air Arms. He does it with Cricket and Caliber. He's a really good guy, really smart. He's the one that tuned this and made the stock. Stay tuned, a lot more videos coming out. The weather's breaking and we're going to get outside and do a lot more shooting this year. And as always, please comment, please subscribe, and please hit like. I like to hear your comments, and I like questions, so if you have any, please send them. And thank you for watching.